Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Fifth Row Tarot. Um, so I'm doing a special lunar eclipse full moon in Capricorn reading today. It's July 4th, 2020. In the US, it is Independence Day. Yes, I put that in air quotes. As you guys know, I've been teaching myself a little bit more, well, learning a little bit more from some really great teachers about eclipses, about the astrology connected to tarot. And I have a lot of notes here, which is why you see my notebook out. Actually, I want to grab something too to kind of see where we might go with this reading. So, as I'm going through this, looking for the card that I'm looking for. So what I got a sense of as I was reading about not only the cycles of the moon, of course, as you know, I've been reading Mysteries of the Dark Moon by Demetra George, and that's been really helping inform my knowledge of not only the feminine, like the divine feminine, but the feminine aspects of the moon, the earth, and how it relates to tarot, how it relates to how we move around in the world as humans. So what I wanted to do was kind of go through and pull out some notes of things that I've learned and looked for and things like that. So this part of the lunar cycle is about flowering or the fertilization phase, because the moon cycle is similar to the like a woman's menstrual cycle. So and this phase of that cycle would be the fertilization phase. And the fertilization, of course, I think I mentioned in a previous reading, probably the solar eclipse new moon reading, was that there was a coming period of kind of like a spiritual sense of ovulation and a spiritual sense of fertilization. Now, if you're a woman or identify as a woman, you could be going through this process with your menstrual cycle. Sometimes it kind of aligns in that way. Let's see, what else? Again, I'm just reading through some of my notes, and then we'll get into the reading for the full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn. Let's see. So I also had some questions that kind of came up as I was doing this. The Earth, so it kind of seems as if, when it's a lunar eclipse, there's the sun, there's the Earth, and then there's the moon, and the Earth is now standing between the moon and the sun. Even though it's a full moon, the sun is not able to get light to the moon in order for the full moon light to reflect. That's essentially what a lunar eclipse is. Yes, I think I have that right. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself in the description. So, but if I remember correctly, yes. Let's see. So there's this sense that the earth is protecting the feminine as the fertilized seed grows. Or again, because we're talking about a lunar cycle, we're talking about a life cycle, we're talking about a menstrual cycle. Is the seed that has been fertilized, has it taken root into the nurturing space that it needs in order to grow? And that's exactly what the full moon is about. Have we reached a point in whatever we seeded at the new moon where the thing that we kind of packed into a seed and buried in the ground in order to grow, did it grow or did it die? Did we nurture it enough? Um, did we do our part to bring forward what we wanted to bring forward in this lunar cycle? And again, that is exactly what this the idea of the lunar cycle stands for. It's not a, like, I I made the mistake of actually going in and looking at, like, and I'll get into it a little bit more about why I went this way, but I made the mistake of looking at Plato's allegory of the cave. And if you know the story is essentially Plato likened being human on this earth to, and then essentially becoming a philosopher, basically, to being in a cave, and someone is behind, like, there are people trapped in a cave, chained in a cave, they can't move, but someone elsewhere has a fire going, and on the wall of this cave, they basically play out in front of the fire what they want this captive person to see. So essentially, the allegory of the cave is that we are trapped in a cave, unable to free ourselves because someone else is in control of the fire, someone else is in control of the flame, and is projecting on the wall what they want the chained people to see. Now, as I got into that, because I was like, that sounds interesting, what I missed was the fact that, um, these are all masculine philosophers, and their focus was really on identifying themselves and their intelligence as quote unquote good. And in going a little bit further and further into this, from their masculine perspective of their philosophy, right? What they said was that if you are, like, not only did they liken, something to good, like, they completely got rid of the whole sense, they got rid of the whole, basically. That's my point, is that they got rid of the whole. They eliminated the sense of, if you are intelligent, then you are good. And that completely eliminates questioning of, if you are good, you are intelligent. If you are bad, you are, honestly, chaos is what it is. Chaos. They were totally scared of it. And to me, that means that they're scared of the unknown. Like, because that would mean good equals intelligent and bad equals the unknown or not knowing. And I think that's, sorry, that was a long path to go down. But essentially, what I realized is that I was looking at it from a different perspective, a masculine perspective of how we move around, as part of the lunar cycle and things like that. Because I think the thing here is that we're understanding our wholeness. We are coming into oneness. And yes, there is something to the fact of, who's in control of the shadows that are being cast, who is in control of the light. But then I think it kind of, like, diverges off that path into saying, if you're not intelligent, you're not good. And, the intelligence is the most important thing. And the thing is that it is not the most important thing. The whole is necessary. I know that sounds odd, but anyway, I know how much I've spent 10 minutes talking. Okay, I'm going to keep going, and I still haven't found the card that I'm looking for, so I'm going to keep doing that while I'm talking. So oneness of the act has already occurred, but what will come of the seed that has been fertilized? So Demetra George, in her book, says the Solitrean, which was kind of like an ancient people's, as far as archaeology goes, like archaeology, history, that kind of thing. So those people had a notion of the feminine in their cave art, which is why I'm going through these cards looking for the cave card and these Kim Krans archetype cards, because I want to do a special reading with the cave in mind. And in that cave art, they depicted essentially the pregnancy cycle of mammals that were ultimately described as feminine, like aspects of the feminine were in those mammals that were roaming the earth at that time. Well, still roaming the earth now, but like bison, buffalo, things like that. The Magdalenian portrayed the cave itself as a temple where rites are performed, and I think that's what we are missing out on, is the rites that we have. We've gotten out of touch with the rites, like rites of passage, rites of initiation, rites of, that kind of, that idea of rites and rituals. Let's see. So it's fitting that it is the depths of the earth where a new earth could be made. So, and I kind of summed it up that this full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn is about a journey into the depths to implement the chaos of creation. Because if you think about like Plato, he like simplified an aspect there, and I won't refer to that again because it really isn't super relevant. But if we think about when sperm and an egg come together, there's a moment of chaos. What does the sperm do? What does the egg do? The egg receives and swallows the sperm, right? And then is fertilized. The work begins on the inside of that egg to now create new life. So now it really is thinking about the cave as this egg holding the sperm, holding, I guess, like in comparison, holding an idea, holding a thought, holding a vision. And it's kind of up to us to go into the egg. And I know that sounds really weird, but it feels like that's what's happening now. We're either protecting the egg or we're going into the egg. And we choose right now which one we are. So I hope that makes sense. Probably sounds really, really strange, but one of these days I'm going to find this cave card. Here we go. I found the cave card. Okay. All right. I also found the womb card. I brought that out too, just in case. I feel like that might also give us some sort of a framing or structure for this reading. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go through the rest of my notes really quickly. And again, if you want to fast forward through all of this, great. Cool. Actually, I will put a timestamp so that, you can just skip ahead to the reading. So my notes here, and it might sound kind of harsh, but if we think about the moon and the sun, the moon and the earth as the feminine, then of course the sun is the masculine. And so now that we have the sun on one side of the earth, And then the moon, it's, the earth has gotten in between the moon and the sun. And it's as if, the sun is shining, but it can't get to the moon. So there's no more need for the, the masculine in this sense and the feminine, because he's kind of done his job. He's implemented, and at this point, he's no longer important to the process. It's still the womb, it's still the egg, it's still the feminine that still have that job to do. So in this case, the masculine is impotent, powerless. And again, that's just comparison. What will the end of this lunar cycle bring to seed for the next new moon? And the sun may be shining, but the earth and the moon are envisioning and revisioning without it. So let's talk about eclipses really quickly. Eclipses heighten this part of the lunation process, the lunation cycle. And I got this just as a side note. I learned this from Cafe Astrology, who is run by a really, really awesome person. I definitely recommend you check out her site. If you haven't been on it already, I've used it for years, but cafeastrology.com is the website. But essentially, eclipses heighten the lunation, and it would definitely be helpful for you to know where Capricorn falls in your astrological chart so that you can see where this lunar eclipse full moon might be heightened for you. So I recommend you do that. Capricorn rules the 10th house, which is the house of power and authority, also known as the house of world leaders, how you show up at like work and things like that. The 10th house is about career. But then, I'm going to move a little bit more toward tarot now. I've pulled out, I keep note cards to kind of give me, so I can start learning a little bit more about relating the tarot to astrology. But if we look at major arcana, the devil is represented by Capricorn. And the devil is about attachment, learned helplessness, and creative energy. But that's definitely where we are right now, is this creative energy. And, maybe we're looking at our attachment, or we are separating ourselves and unattaching ourselves from something. Now, Saturn also rules the 10th house. Saturn is represented in tarot by the World card, the major arcana. And this is about wholeness, the dissolution of all binaries. And that's something else that came up too, is there's a sense here that we are getting rid of binaries. And when I say binaries, it's like we're getting rid of, and this is my belief, like completely, is when we talk about wholeness and then the dissolution of all binaries. And again, I got these meanings from Jessica Dore. Just want to shout out to her. She has a great class that you should definitely check out, that you can take online. But when we talk about the dissolution of all binaries, and this is something that I truly believe is happening, not only happening now because we talk about oneness here and fertilization, right? And the world is now this egg of something new being born. And we're no longer looking at things as good or bad. We're not looking at things as the binaries that separate us. And we're trying to figure out how to create I really do think that this is about creating a new world. So let's go ahead and get into the reading. Let's go ahead and get into the reading. Let's see. So I brought out the, I think this might stay up if I take it off. So I bought up the Cave card and the Womb card. Good, you can see those. So what I want to do is ask Spirit, okay, I'm just going to pull some cards, and then I'm going to read the meaning of these cards, and then I'm going to flip over, or either flip over or, yeah, you know what I'm saying. But that's the order I'm going to do it in. I'm going to take the cards out first, and then we're going to read the cards. But definitely what I want to find out from this new moon is, or this full moon, and from the Spirit, from Spirit, is what is coming to light, what is coming to dark, what is coming together, what is coming into oneness here, and what can we expect from this full moon today, and this full moon cycle, and the rest of the lunation phase. What will come about for us? Okay, thank you so much, Spirit, for coming into this reading. I call in all the elements of the earth. I call in all the senses of the body. I call on my divine ancestors and teachers, my divine and enlightened ancestors. And I note I always say enlightened ancestors because I got some ancestors that I do not want anything to do with. So I'm calling on my divine and enlightened ancestors. And I call on my ascended masters and teachers who have gone beyond to bring a reading. Okay, Spirit, can you bring us a reading for the full moon? Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. A reading for the full moon lunar eclipse in Capricorn. Thank you. Wow, got a lot of cards coming out here, guys. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Spirit is talking. Really, really. So many cards, guys. So many cards. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Bottom of the deck, we've got the Eight of Wands, which is not bad. Okay, let's see. Get these cards out here. Ooh. Wow. I like this. Okay, I'm not going to say anything else. I like this. Actually, wow. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Spirit. Second of all, there is a lot of passionate energy and a lot of envisioning going on at a level of mature feminine. But what we've got started is we've made a decision. I'm just going to do the reading right now. We've made a decision to move on and create something new. And we've kind of locked down like what we've locked down exactly what we're wanting to build. And now there's this energy coming in of it's a shaman energy, but it's also a definite like I'm taking action on behalf of the feminine because we've got you know what, I've got to show the cards. Got the Two of Wands, the Three of Wands, Mother of Swords, Mother of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, Father of Swords, Son of Swords, Temperance, and the Hermit. So what this looks like to me at a very high level is this Mother of Swords. You know, I went through the whole, we're building something new. We've made a decision to move forward. And we're locking down this portal sensation that we built together. And right now there is, as the feminine principles here, the principal players here are, this is a doubling up of the feminine at a spiritual level, to say, I am working closely with the earth and with my own senses to create something new on my own. Because the Ace of Wands typically is about, I'll say it, typically is about the phallic. But what it also is about too is, in this reading, what I see is these two are creating on their own. And that's where I see this, like, this, the impotence here. Like, and when I say impotence, I mean like the uselessness, essentially uselessness at this level of the masculine, in a sense of, and again, when I talk about feminine and masculine, I'm talking about the two sides within us. How we, are we on the side of birthing something new, or are we on the side of, just constantly taking action to get from A to Z without really thinking about, the journey is cyclical rather than linear, right? Because if we have like secular, my words are like, my mouth is like missing words. If we have cycles within our body as the feminine, if we know that we go through cycles of, even on a side of up and down, even in the body, if we respect the cycle of life and death, if we respect the cycle of regeneration and rebirth, if we respect that cycle, we are respecting the feminine in us. And so now it looks like at a higher level, the two principal players here, there are two queens on board, where one is the shaman, one is working with the Mother of Pentacles, and the Mother of Pentacles is someone who is, so the Mother of Swords is someone who takes action, someone who can do things on her own. And these two are meeting up. One is probably, the Mother of Pentacles is very nurturing, but she's also very much capable of handling her own stuff. She can, again, I use this analogy all the time. She can go home, earn the bacon, take it home, fry it up. But that saying. But essentially here, that's confirming that they are capable of doing this on their own. There is some sort of like a divine passion, divine regeneration energy that they can do on their own without the masculine. And so the Father of Swords is here, and I feel like this is almost this is a separation, like, because and the thing is, the Father of Swords is trying to bring in the Son of Swords in order to act. So there could be this kind of a clash happening where, when you have a Father of Swords that feels left out and wanting to act, and he's got this big sword here, there's going to be a loyalty. Someone is going to show their loyalty, and they're either going to show it to the Father of Swords, or they're going to show it to the Mother of Swords. But the Son of Swords is that warrior. This is the Knight of Swords. There is evidence here that someone is going to take action, and it's probably not going to be, even though there's a mature figure here, it just doesn't seem like they're taking action for the right reasons. They're taking action for, like, really not. I don't think this Father of Swords is actually really thinking. This Father of Swords is thinking about how can I stay relevant? How can I be the Ace of Wands? When really, he can't be the Ace of Wands. He's a Father of Swords, right? Interesting. This is interesting. Because, you guys, I don't read reversals, but what I'm seeing here is, this is my concern. Because when you have, you know, when there's a side, even when, honestly, even when there's a side of you that can't act, um, maybe, I don't know why I see messages. Either someone is going to send you a message on a broader level, on a like a far out level. This could be something coming from the air, like maybe, I hate to say, like some sort of warfare, but I do kind of see that. But I honestly, in this, I see an attack, and I don't know if it's an attack on the Father of Swords, or if it's an attack on behalf of the Father of Swords. I need some clarification on that. But what I do see after the Son of Swords is the Temperance card, and the Temperance card to me is about bringing balance. So now we have, you see this stork. I call it a stork. It could be a crane. But what you have the stork doing here is crying tears on a fire, because the fire might be getting out of control. So there's a sense of bringing balance and calm and peace. And in that sense, the Hermit comes along. This is another major arcana card. Wow. Wow. So here, the Hermit is, this is guidance. This is a teacher. This is someone coming in, shining their light, but it's definitely like a shining of the light to themselves, or it's like an inward focus. So something happens that might be really big that takes us all even further inside. But ultimately, again, because the bottom of the deck is the Eight of Wands, it's almost, it seems something new is coming. Something new is being created. Because wands are creative energy. Swords are just air and words and like empty threats, basically. But wands are the creative energy. So the Father of Swords here, while, you know, he's the kind that can take action, he doesn't. It's all empty words. And the Mother of Swords is more likely to take that action than the Father of Swords in this reading. Because the Mother of Swords, again, to me, as a tarot reader, the Mother of Swords to me is a shaman. She has been crafted, her experience of life has been crafted by her spiritual, like her life experience has been impacted by, you know, a lot of experience of maybe loss and things like that. Okay, so my battery is appearing to run low, so I'll just read really quickly the cave and the womb. Oh, and I instantly turned to the cave when I opened the book. So the cave is the dark, the portal, and the interior. Those who are fortunate enough to find and enter the cave are forever changed. It is a place of potent power, acting as both a portal to another realm, and this is what I see in the Three of Wands, is that portal. Acting as a portal to another realm and a space for sacred ritual and initiation, the cave is a place to return for meaningful retreat, where one can see the true self in the darkness. In esoteric teachings, the cave is known to reside in the center of the heart. Within its walls, the whispers of compassion and self-understanding. Maybe you're having that. This is where, you know, I'm seeing the Hermit in this too, is, you know, you're inside your heart and you're finding compassion and self-understanding. Yet, because of its mysteries and powers, many of us fear the cave and never try to find it. We busy ourselves in the bright lights of the city, while the cavernous and dimly lit chamber calls out to us in the night. Where is your cave? You already know it. Return to it and tend to the fire. And again, that goes back to that Plato's allegory of who controls the fire? Who controls the fire in your cave? What shadows are you throwing off You know, who controls the fire in your cave? Where is your cave? I mean, and not only that, like, it's not even where is your cave at this point. It's who controls the fire in your cave. Go back to it and tend to it. If you've let go of, you know, thinking for yourself, if you've let go of and again, we've got Capricorn here. If you've got like unhealthy attachments, learned helplessness, or creative energy that you want to expend, you need to go back to the cave. Like, stand for yourself, stand up for yourself, get whole with yourself. Um, get rid of the binaries, control the fire of your cave. So when this is light, this is the sacred center within. When in dark, you are in withdrawal, isolation, and hiding. To go deeper, check out Lescao, the Cave of Crystals, and the Blue Grotto. I will link those in the description. Lastly, I wanted to do a Magdelene oracle. I'm not going to read the womb card because I think the cave was kind of on point. But before my battery completely dies, I want to get a Magdelene as well to maybe get some clarification on what might happen toward the end of this cycle as well. Okay, Spirit, give us some guidance. Thank you. Wow. And of course, the Magdelene card came up. So I'm going to put the womb card aside, put the Magdelene card up, and go ahead and quickly read. Where did I put that book? Where's my Magdelene book? Oh, here it is. Duh. All right, Magdelene. And this is the Magdelene Oracle by Toni, Carmine, Salerno. Magdelene. Okay, Magdelene. Go forth and be true to yourself. Dare to be different, to make mistakes. Create, for it is in creation that you exist, in a world full of dreams that stem from your heart, in oneness, love and hatred, wonder and awe, softness and pain, joy and light. In the stillness, the unknown awaits, a void wanting to be filled. Step into it with courage and strength, like a budding rose reaching for the light. Love will lead you to greener pastures. Keep your pockets full of dreams, for life is a test of faith. Allow your light to shine. There is no beginning or end. There is only love. Go forth and be true to yourself. Dare to be different. All right, guys, that is your full moon, lunar eclipse, and Capricorn reading. I am Fifth Road Tarot, and I look forward to talking to you again tomorrow for the weekly reading. And also, just a side note, I am revamping my website. If you need to reach me, please email me at fifthroadshop@gmail.com or follow me on Instagram, Fifth Road Spirit. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your lunar cycle. I'll see you for the new moon.